Welcome to Crypto Talk Radio, the podcast for everyday investors like you. Visit us on the web at cryptotalkradio.net. And now, here's your host, Leister.
Thank you for that, Bailey, and welcome everybody out there in Crypto Talk Radio, found at cryptotalkradio.net. I am quite delayed in recording today's episode. By the time you hear it, it's already after the fact, but I am delayed. I'm delayed because I want to tell a funny story. And if you're not a homeowner, you won't resonate. But for those that are homeowners, maybe you'll resonate. I'm going to tell the story as what it is. If you're new, welcome. I needed to replace my furnace. It started making a very uncomfortable sound. And these numbnuts installed the damn thing close to the master bedroom. And it's got return vents in every room. Normally what I'm used to is return vent. You have a large return vent kind of in your hallway ceilings. Maybe you have a two-story, there's one in the first and one in the second, or it's in the near the entrance or something, like in my house in Washington. The return vent, there was two that I can recall. There was one when you walk in the front door, and it was right on the base of the stairs, right as you walk in. And then I'm pretty sure there was one in the upstairs hallway. Pretty sure that's the case, but it was in the hallway. It wasn't in the rooms. I'm not used to this, with the return vents in the rooms. Like in my parents' home was in the hallway. It's always in the hallway. That's what I'm used to. My grandparents' home, hallway. Colorado, the townhome, hallway, near the mirror. It's always hallway. Here, they have one return vent in every room, and there's kind of, an iffy on this. Anyway, so I need to replace the furnace. So fine, I find a contractor. Finally, I've been searching for one for months. I had a different guy who I've used before. This joker came back with like $8,000 on the quote. That doesn't work for me, brother. So I shop around. I found this other guy, and I was shopping it out, and he came back, and he was like just shy of $6,000. And it's a nice unit. It's a, 2-stage. It's a Goodman, high end, good spec. It's smaller than the other unit. And he was willing to do all the duct rework that I wanted done to relocate the unit further away from the master that the other guy wanted to charge, over $7,000 for. And so I gave this guy the business. They said, first of all, he told me, okay, we'll be able to install it. And the day of install was going to be yesterday. He shows up yesterday, the tech. He shows up yesterday. He's like, well, we don't have the part. It's out of stock. And so I just want to get a lay of the land. That's fine. But your guy said you'd be able to install it. So don't promise something your ass can't cash. Anyway, he does the walkthrough. He's looking around. He understands. I'm telling him what I want done. He's like, yeah, easy work, easy. We'll get an electrician on that. And duct work looks pretty simple, looks pretty straightforward. Shouldn't be a lot of work. And I should be able to knock it out in a day and a half, maybe, or whatnot. Okay. He says parts should be in tomorrow. So that would be today. He shows up today. He's here at 11. It's like 11:15, 11:30. I expected him to be after 10. So he's on time as far as that goes. That's cool. He says, yep, I've got the part. I'm ready to go and do the install. Let's go and get this thing done. Let's get to work. He goes down there. Okay. He's starting to do all the little stuff. I see the unit, and it's a high efficiency unit. It's way more efficient than the old unit, being a Goodman instead of one of these ghetto ones like before. That's cool. And then they're upgrading. They offered to upgrade the return filtration to the top of the line instead of the ghetto that was there before. So it's a nice setup. He's starting to do what he's doing down there. I leave him to his thing while I'm on the clock because I'm on the clock. All of a sudden, I'm hearing him work the duct work, right? And he gets to a point where I hear there's a bunch of banging, and he's starting to yell and talk to himself. And I'm a little bit concerned because I'm like, okay, what's this going on? And the electrician had come by and didn't realize, okay, there's an outlet. He's got to wire the outlet. They didn't tell him that he had to wire an outlet. He charges more for that. So it wasn't included in the quote. I paid the guy because it was just an extra $88. I just paid him cash out. That's why cash is king. And he was like, really? I'm like, of course, I'm the customer. I wanted it, and they didn't do it, but I want it. And you should get paid for the work that you do, and you're willing to accommodate it. So I don't mind paying you. That's what customers are supposed to do. It's not free. Shit's not free. I understand you got bills to pay. So I had him a $100 bill, and he was appreciative. I'm going to try to get him to bid on the other electrical work I want to do. So he does the tool and gets the wiring and all that stuff taken care of, takes off. And so the, HVAC guy is banging around with the ductwork, and I hear him literally struggling. I go down there. He cut the piece too large that he needs to fit in when he moved it, because he had to slice out this section and he was going to put a new piece in, and he cut it too large. So he's fighting it. And I offered to help him because all he really needed to do, it's like a half an inch, just pull the one piece of the, the duct span back enough so he can fit it in there. And it's not that hard. We can unscrew some of the things and do it. And I offered to help him. Like, need help? He said, there's nothing you can help with. All right, cool, no problem. So you say you got it covered after you said it was easy work, right? So I go upstairs. All of a sudden, 10 minutes later, I hear loudly, because my basement, you can hear from there, "Why won't you go in?" The moral of my story is pride comes before the downfall, folks. You got to set your ego at the door. You can say something's easy work. You can say something is going to be a breeze. You can say you got it covered. You can say you're the boss of this but man, if you're struggling, just ask for help, dude. It's like that. It's not that hard. It's not that big of a deal. It's easy. Don't worry about it. We can get past this thing. He gets past it. It took him a while. I think it took him like an hour to get past this piece. He finally got past it. He got it at least to the point. He didn't finish because he got it to the point where it's, the heat's back on, because the temperature was dropping like a rock. It was starting to get cold because we're in a cold snap right now. So the timing just kind of sucks, but the furnace started failing due to no fault of my own. There's nothing I can do about it. But he got it going. He got it working. Everything's running. Now he has to connect the return. So it's pulling return in the basement, but he got it to where I got heat again. And he's going to come back and wrap up the job. And he thinks it's easy from here. All I'm saying is, set your clout, curb your clout, just set your pride aside. It's not that hard. Sometimes you just need some help from our friends. That's all, and ask. I don't mind helping. It's my house, right? And I want to make sure it's successful, and I don't mind doing it if it's crappy ductwork. I understand. If I had the time, I'd replace all of it because I think it's all garbage, and I understand that, and I understand for him. It was harder because he's patching in to an existing ducting instead of brand new ducting all the way around. Anyway, some weird stuff happening in cryptocurrency. We're going to chat about that and see what we can do and see what we can figure out. Second to this, I've got a little bit of coverage I'm going to be talking about for something I observed. It's crypto related, but something I observed. I wanted to bring to attention, share my thoughts, and see if we go from there. Coindesk.com, we are going to not bother zooming out because we already know what it is. We already know what happened. You know what happened. You might not be even looking at charts. I hope you're not. You might not be looking at charts. Maybe you don't know what happened, but Bitcoin took a crap again. I say a crap, but it wasn't a major thing, but it was enough to cause some concerns. So people started freaking out. Some people swore up and down that this is, the end is near, because they see a strong downward trend. And if you do zoom out to the month chart, you can see exactly what happened. Over the past 24 hours, a high of 102,000, a low of 96, 5% of the volatility. Currently trending slightly back. We're hitting up to the 97, but the trend is pointed downward. And the expectation from some people was, if you remember, I did last week, I said some people said like 95. That's what this is that some people figured 95. Some people figured it might be lower. There was a lot of liquidation activity. There were a lot of people that just got cashed out, just straight up cashed out. And the expectation is there's going to be more of it. And I said that last week too. The expectation is going to be more of this turmoil and I said, as people hit these price points where they're ready to go ahead and get the hell out or just take profits, because some people, and I'm warning because it's important, because I noticed a lot of YouTubers don't. You have to understand, Bitcoin crapped to $12,000 not long ago. And I guarantee you a lot of people they stacked bills and were chilling on it, waiting for this 100,000 mark, because for them, remember, that's a 10x for a lot of them, or just shy of a 10x for a lot of them. So you think if you took that and said, I know this is going to go somewhere, and I hit $100,000, and that's not a lot, right? It's less than 10 Bitcoin. But the point is, You toss $100,000 at that business, we see that it hits near 10x, and now you become a millionaire. There's going to be a lot of those people because, again, we knew it was going to go back up strong, and 12,000 was people were drooling at the price point. I was drooling at the price point, but I wasn't positioned to buy a significant amount of Bitcoin at the time, and I wasn't too worried about it because I suspected there's going to be multiple opportunities, and I know that we're going to hit other dip points where it was just I can wait it out. But people were pissed off and frustrated seeing that it crapped back down. I wasn't frustrated at Bitcoin going down. I was frustrated at Ethereum going down. A low of 3,300, just shy of 3,400, a high of 3,700, just shy. Currently hovering around the 3,400 mark. Ethereum can't win for losing. It can't go anywhere, and it really pisses me off because it should be higher than what it is. It should be way higher than what it is. There's no reason for Ethereum to be as low as it is, and it's frustrating. That's the one I'm looking at. It's not Bitcoin for me. It's Ethereum because Ethereum has so much raw, and I can only blame idiot Vitalik and all his stunts turning off so many whales that just refuse to come back to the business because there's no other explanation for what the hell is going on with Ethereum. If you're looking at all of the different things right now and just curious about what to get into, I can't help you there because it's a different time, man. It's way different. You can't trust hardly any of these. Everything's still a gamble. It's all gambling. I've said it's gambling. People are starting to come around, right? Because that's what you're doing. You're hoping, you roll the dice. You hope that the thing strikes you big. And some of them go on like a 4X or 5X. You toss 1,000, you make some really good money. And some of them just crap like Hawktua, right? Now, obviously, you should know better. If you got into Hawktua, you should have known better. You were a simp. I'm talking just in general that the idea is that things are going to go up at least to a 5X, if nothing else, but not everything does. And then you don't know which ones. And then there's about a garbage that comes out, and that's really a risk. So I don't know I cannot recommend any one specific token to get into. I can't recommend types of tokens to get into. It's a different era. I will tell you, artificial intelligence tokens are crapping, and they're not performing anywhere near as people thought they were going to be. When I say crapping, I'm talking about in comparison to other tokens, other garbage of old coins that are out there. Most of these AI tokens are failing to replicate the performance seen last year. NVIDIA being one that was talking about the AI being the next big thing, all the chips that they were manufacturing to jump on the hype that was artificial intelligence. And of course, Leister at CryptoTalk.fm, being a technologist himself, told you it was all a bunch of scam. People just basically scamming you. I understand that there was a little bit of popularity behind it, but it was basically the latest fad. People were jumping on the latest fad. Some people got fat off the hog because of your FOMO. When you FOMO'd into AI-based tokens, especially because a lot of YouTubers told you to do it. But I said multiple times that I didn't believe that this was going to be a sustained run on the artificial intelligence side. NEAR is one of those tokens that's on the AI side, down more at 8%, crapped. FET, what I believe is Fetch.ai, down 9%. NVIDIA was up as far as the token price, but all the other ones that they predicted were going to climb are crapping down. I don't think it's permanent. I do think that ultimately it's a fad. I think artificial intelligence in general is a fad. It's something like, mixed reality, right? Mixed reality was a fad. It came and went. I would argue virtual reality is a fad. It's nowhere near what we were sold that it was going to be. So people are going to make money off of it. I'm not suggesting that they won't. I'm suggesting that it's all a fad and it's not going to last. It's not going to be any stronger than what it is. And we also have to understand a lot of money is flowing in the opposite direction, away from AI and some of these fad tokens and into the hands of some governments, into the hands of some big institutional players, but more so the governments. A lot of the governments are starting to get money, crypto money, from different places, including Gemini. Gemini's agreed to pay $5 million to settle a case with the CFTC, allegedly misleading statements it made a long time ago about how Bitcoin futures could be manipulated. There was a settlement. They didn't admit any liability. Of course not. They did not deny any liability. Of course not. They just want to make the whole thing go away, and you were hoping that Gemini would go away. Gemini wasn't going to go away, but Gemini is looking forward. They're looking to see if President-elect Donald Trump is going to put people in office away from the Gary Genses of the world. They're going to be a little bit friendlier to cryptocurrency to give them a chance to scam you, because we know that's what they really want to do. They want to scam you and rip you off. I can't say 100% that they will do that. I'm saying that that's what they'd like to do, is they'd like to have a little bit more freedom to rip you off. In their mind, they should be able to do freely available transactions. They should allow people to freely transact, and it's their risk because you're rolling the dice, and it's your right to roll the dice and win or lose. That's what they want, is to get the government off their backs. And why can't they just let people be freely, gambling in their casinos? And that's, if you're one of those, then you're on their side. You welcome what they're trying to do. I'm saying that the vast majority of people don't welcome it. Are they bad people? No. They're taking advantage of the lack of law. So they're doing what they are entitled to do. Part of the problem, I think, is that there's not enough education in cryptocurrency to keep people safe away from the malicious actors that are out there. As a result, you have people like these Winklevoss people and everybody else that are sitting fat on the hog while you're getting ripped off. You get ripped off because you're not being educated about those risks that are being put in front of you, especially when they try to pitch and shill you left and right. And that's what we see has happened. I think, this is an opinion, I think, given what I said about artificial intelligence being a fad, I think given this Gemini stuff, them trying to get away from the regulatory climate that we see, I think with a lot of the garbage of old coins that are just pump and dumps, I think with garbage like the Haktua token, with everything else that's out there and everything that's spinning out there, the one constant that I've said is the killer application that nobody seems to capitalize or focus on is gaming with respect to blockchain and cryptocurrency. I still maintain the games that are out there suck and they're not doing what I think they should do. That's causing a lot of hesitancy because if you think of the target audience, it's the younger crowd. So them not having the money, number one, and not focusing on gaming to entice them, number two, causes the regulatory, entities to step up and say, all you're basically doing, you don't really have a use case. You don't have a purpose. You don't have a value. All you're doing is taking money from people. What do you do? Whereas if they were to tie gaming to this, as I've said, if they were to be able to tie gaming to that, you can see a tangible use case, which is you play the game, you earn money instead of the free to play, which is a scam that we see out there like the Roblox and all this other crap that's out there where they just take money from you because it's pay to play. That's what it is. And instead of doing pay to play, how about you tie cryptocurrency and blockchain to gaming such that you can actually earn money? You can be enriched for your time and for your energy and for your effort. Could you imagine games that are actually quality games? I'm not talking the garbage that's out there. I'm talking quality games for the competition where you can earn money, like the old days where we used to have tournaments and you could win prizes for being the best in class. Speaking of gaming that might stand out, Epic Games Off the Grid Game of the Year at the 2024 Game Awards, the GAM3 Awards. This is a shooter, and I've said I don't like shooters because it seems like they're all shooters, but it stands out because it's blockchain driven. Being blockchain driven is the first step to what I'm talking about, is actually using blockchain technology and cryptocurrency to help push this forward, and you can benefit off of it. You might not know, let's say you're not a gamer, you don't know anything about it. I'm going to go a high level because I want you to understand it, because I've said multiple times that I think gaming is the killer app that many of these are not capitalizing on. When I say capitalizing, I'm saying that they're putting a quality game out, not garbage. I'm not a fan of the shooters. However, Epic Games' game, this one it stands out. It's much more advanced in development than anything that we've seen, in my personal opinion. Off the Grid, the way this works is it's a cyberpunk game. It's dystopian type of game. It ties in the Avalanche subnet. It offers economy. There's a tradable in-game assets. It's a shooter, right? So, and more importantly, multiplayer. You might think that the multiplayer is not a big thing. The multiplayer is part of the whole, it's a part of the whole business. When you tie in multiplayer gaming elements, you're enticing worldwide. You're enticing more gamers, and it's word of mouth. As people get in and they are enjoying the experience, they're going to spread the word as it's online multiplayer. That's transactional. That's activity. That's cycles and blocks and everything that the blockchain needs for that activity. So I'm saying that from my lens, this is one of those that's a strong use case around gaming and blockchain. Some people said that Axie Infinity was good. I thought Axie Infinity was crap, in my personal opinion, but I understand what it was. I think the one other piece with some gaming that I've seen that does use blockchain, the whole point is that the user should not know or care that blockchain is even in place. It should be something where the game experience is front and center, and it is the focus of the developer, such that you're just playing a game. And as long as the game is good enough, it doesn't matter how you're using the blockchain. It doesn't matter how you're using the cryptocurrency. But many of the other games, you can clearly see the cryptocurrency elements as part of it. And you might think, well, shouldn't people know how much money they made? Or shouldn't people know how their money is being spent or all that? Sure, but it should never be the focus of the experience. I go back to my experience way back yonder with Valkyrie Crusade. May she rest in peace. Valkyrie Crusade, the only thing that it ever put in front with respect to the in-app purchases was when you bought, the summons for the cards. But that was an optional thing. You didn't have to do it. You do a daily summon, and then other than that, you're navigating a world and you're doing fights with your existing deck to, win, and then you win these gems and all this other stuff. But if you did in-apps because you wanted, let's say they had some kind of specialty card, and they had a lot of those collector's cards with the Oracle and the Alchemist and the Fairy and everything, and you wanted to get the latest collectible cards, or you wanted to just support the artist, then that's when you would see it. Other than that, it was behind the scenes. It was just a regular adventure game for all intents and purposes that happened to have a city builder aspect. Now, the city builder aspect was garbage, admittedly so. The point is that they put it up front. When Million Arthur was first released, I'm not talking the bastardized version that Square Enix put, because they bought it and then they ruined it. I'm not talking that one. I'm talking the original one. Same thing, it was an adventure game, card-based and everything else that was really, really good. The best games, they put the gaming experience front and center, and that's what Off the Grid appears to do very well, as in it does not focus on cryptocurrency or blockchain in any way. It's just a game. And by the way, happens to have blockchain technology under the hood, and that's kind of contributed to its success long term. I do recommend that you check out Off the Grid on Epic Games. That's all you have to do is do a search for Epic Games Off the Grid, all separate words, and you'll see what the game is about. And it may be something that you're looking into. Now, I'm going to close out the episode with the other piece that I was just referring to and wanted to talk through and kind of go down the list, because it seems to me, personal observation, some people don't understand where we're at versus where we were. You might be in some cryptocurrency from the past. You're in something that was from 2021, 2022, and you're wondering what's happened, what's wrong, what's going on, will it recover? I heard questions about Volt. I've heard questions about Libero. Seifu, the car salesman, Lock Pay. I've heard it all. And I want to say this. All of the ones you know of from 2021, the vast majority are dead. Rich Quack is probably the only one I can think of that's not completely toast. HODL token, yes, but HODL token came, it's a V3. So that doesn't really count, and it's still here. It's still kicking. And they just did another migration. So, but Rich Quack is one. Everrise is still alive, but it might as well not be. It's flatlined because all those people fell for the fake pumps. So, might as well be fat. But Shinja, I'm pretty sure Shibnobi is done. Shirios might as well be flatlined, right? ID turned out to be a rug pull. Gosh, on and on and on. And don't get me started on Sidechain. On and on and on. They're all just toast. Doge is still around, but that doesn't count because Doge has been around for like 10 years. So, no. Those little one-offs that you were shilled on by some influencer back in 2021 during the last bull run, the vast majority have cracked. So what I'm saying is it behooves you to kind of move on. Even Believes himself had to acknowledge that Volt might make it, but there's other tokens that have surpassed it. And he was and may still be, but at the time, he was one of the biggest ones. It's a recognition of where we were and where we are and the pace at which cryptocurrency is advancing. Libero is dead. Okay. So trying to ask about Libero, there's no reason. Libera is dead. Multiverse Capital is dead. Epic Hero is dead. These are, Elephant Money, I'm pretty sure is dead. Dead. Pitbull token's still out there. So there's the one-offs that you will see, but they're not going to make you life-changing money at this point. And it's not their fault. In some cases, it's not their fault. But you have to understand it's a highly competitive space. And I've been talking about this for months. Money is just shifting around. We got a little bit new money in cryptocurrency, but the vast majority of money is just being shifted around. It just is. So since it's being shifted around, what you're then seeing for the most part is you got person and group A over here. And what they're saying is, okay, I'm just going to, dump money into this garbage over here and then sit on it. And like Kuma, right? Sit on it and just wait for it to go to the moon. That's what it is. Those days are gone. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's a competitive space. If you sit on something and just wait for it, it's going to get surpassed every time. It doesn't matter what it is. And it's, again, in most cases, not their fault. That's just the way of what's going on now. They're going to get surpassed. Something else will come along, some shiny garbage that's going to attract that money. That's why I call it gambling, because you can say, I'm just going to go after whatever spins up shiny on pump fun. Cool, if that's what you want to do. I don't recommend it, but that may be the only way that you, because you're gambling, right? That may be the only way that you do make some money. Or you can stay loyal to a project that has no future. It's your money, but this is the reality we're in, that everything is faster. The pace is faster. Tokens are coming out and they're attracting people's attention, and the older ones are getting left behind because of a refusal to adapt with the times. Same criticism I had to the Everrise team, because they went after the RiserBots crap instead of focusing on the utilities that made them stand out. Same thing I said to Market Move, who quit the business and went to some garbage instead of just focusing on what I thought was one of the best contract scanners that there was. Same issue I had with Paratoken, where I told those numbnuts, Lee, where I told them, you need to be hitting up every single military installation that you can and talking to these people about what this could do to try to help their situation, and they refuse to do it. There's a refusal to adapt with the times. They put out something and a good idea. EatJets. They put out something that's a good idea. Sounds good, but then there's no plan B. There's no fallback. They can't keep up. And I said that way back in the bear. I said, some of these, it ain't going to make it because they don't have a plan in the bear. They don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to adapt and adjust with the times to keep up and keep track. That's why so many of them crap as they've done. Bleeze was talking about the Rodney crypto journeys, and he apparently launched a token called Daddy. I don't know why, because then Andrew Tate has another token called Daddy. So right there, I'm sorry, brother, but Andrew Tate is much more popular than you. So he was going to gut some of your buyers because you chose the same tag. I don't know why you would do such a thing. Why didn't you just call it Rodney's token or some generic something that people recognize that doesn't get gutted by Andrew Tate with a shirt off? Because that's likely what happened. And then people said, well, Andrew Tate was willing to burn $110 million worth of his token, but yet Hawk Tuah ripped everybody off. Rodney's is essentially a pump and dump. At some point, you recognize this is the way of it. This is what it is. And it's a different era, and you can't get away with the same things we got away with in 2021. You just can't. So I have no call to action other than consider. If you're just jumping from token to token that seems to pump, I have at it. I'm going to recommend against that, but it's up to you. It's your money. I can't tell what to do with it. We have some challenging times in the short term. and some good times in the long term, especially if we start, once January 20th hits, right, and Donald Trump's officially in office and we start seeing some of the executive orders, that's where we're going to see some of the rubber meet the road. That's where we're going to start seeing some shifts in the pricing. And I just noticed that the value of my home was starting to jump because of a supply crunch. And I have one of those rare few homes that happens to have two bathrooms. I don't know why that's rare out here, but it is. And so that's helping. And then the work I'm doing to improve the home, that's helping. All of which is to connect to the idea that we have good times ahead. I can see it from an economy perspective. The thing that's going to hold us back is the same stuff that's always held us back. The war situation, taxes, which are bullshit. The things that have always been there in our way are going to continue to be in our way. The economy has to improve for everyone, not just for the regular you and me, but also for the government. They need that. They need a stronger economy. And the more that they can do to free up money for us, the more we can contribute back to said economy and make it stronger. If we don't, it's just going to be a shit show over and over again. And nobody wants that, because we have an opportunity now with cryptocurrency, I think, for a good shift of wealth that's not damaging. If you're a millionaire and you choose to buy into cryptocurrency and other people that bought in dump out, we're essentially shifting wealth from A to B, which is what the government's wanted to do. They've wanted to get it to where there's a balance of wealth. Well, you do that by making it enticing to do it, not by threatening, not by taxing, not by all the bullshit they've been doing. So that's also something to keep an eye on that I think is going to help the recovery of cryptocurrency in the long run, is a better focus on where we can help people in general stabilize the economy using cryptocurrency. I don't want it replaced, the US dollar, but I do want it supplanted with a stronger situation. I also want to see, because I saw that, Western Union was struggling and MoneyGram was struggling, and they're struggling because their fees are outrageous and that they're getting into stable coins. So I think it's a good idea, as long as they drop the damn fees. I think it's a good idea. That's a good start. That's a good use. I wish it weren't stable coins, because that means there's no price appreciation possible. I wish MoneyGram and Western Union would create their own tokens, tokenized forms of transmitting money, and then back it with actual US dollars, or, pair it to their own stable coin. Go all in. You have an opportunity. Remember, Western Union at one point was the key to the Telegram, and I don't mean the telescam, I mean the actual Telegram communication system. And then they abandoned it. They still own some of the license to it, but they abandoned it. But they were a front runner, is my point, to what we would, use later in communication technologies. So they have an opportunity to go all in on cryptocurrency and help change the way that we transmit money internationally. That's a key one. The FedNow hasn't been launched yet. We have same-day ACH, and I've used it, and it worked really well. There's all sorts of great opportunities to do more to stabilize our money situation so that we are more comfortable getting in cryptocurrency, so that we can get away from all these drops. But we got a long ways to go, ladies and gentlemen. And the best I can tell you is it will happen in 2025 for sure, because we've already seen inklings of it. Ethereum is the key, though. Notice that it's like this wave of up and down, and all the while there's one constant: Ethereum. It is not gone anywhere near what it should. So I stress, until Ethereum starts going, I don't see that we've fully gotten out of that, and we'll see more of it. And it just means take profits when it makes sense, which is make sure that if you have an opportunity to profit, take that profit, make sure you do, and then be smart about when you buy back in. I get called fudder all the time because I'm telling people that's a fake pump. That's a fake pump. You're a fudder. Doop. Not a fudder. FUD is false information. I'm telling you the truth. The green is a trap. It's a trap because it's going to crap. You can say, yeah, but it'll go back up. That's cool. But in the meantime, you're missing out on profit opportunities. I like people to take profits because you never know what's going to happen. And that's how I feel about the next 3 months of 2025. You're going to see some disruption. I would rather you take profits. I would rather you benefit, and I would rather you be smart about it. What you choose to do is up to you, but I would rather you be smart about it rather than sit on it, because I think holding is a scam. I maintain that, always will. I'm going to dial out now, see what's going on with the furnace. It's heating up pretty darn nicely as it is. And then, of course, I've got to It's almost bedtime here soon. And I want to make sure I get something to eat before I do turn in for the evening.